Hi, everyone. This is Danny from Maker Ed. I am super excited to be here for another week of Ask a Maker Educator. This week, we have the amazing Kim Mesa from the Alum Rock Educational Foundation here to tell us a little bit about her work and some of the ways in which she's really done amazing things around using making as a way to connect with low-income communities and to really do some amazing community building around making. And I'll let her tell you all about it. I'm super excited to introduce Kim Mesa. Kim, take it away. Tell us a little about yourself.
Hi, well, I'm the president of the Alum Rock Education Foundation, which is a local nonprofit in East San Jose. And we do a lot of STEM and STEAM projects with local students. And we've really gotten into making because with kids, you can explain something to them, but it doesn't stick until they actually put it to use. And making is the perfect fit for them. So we have a STEM workshop at a local community center, and we do a summer art and design thinking camp. And we also do workshops throughout the year in various locations that all are around learning something, but then making something to go with it.
Awesome. And so if you are watching, you're out in the YouTube world today and you have some questions for Kim, you'll notice on the right side of your broadcast, there's a little chat box. You can go ahead and throw your chat questions in there and we'll share those with Kim. To start though, Kim, I'd love if you could tell us a little bit about some of the things you've done around using making as a way to really help students connect with the communities that they're a part of and the places they come from.
We do that. We base the journey on starting with students themselves. What do they know best? They know themselves. So we start with activities where they're making something that's relative to them. What kind of utensil do I need to make eating my favorite food easier? What would my dream bedroom be? And so they actually learn Tinkercad, they build scale models, and they build in circuitry and other things into the things that they're doing. From there, we tie them in. Okay, now you know what you want in your bedroom. You use the bus to get to and from school. What would be a bus stop shelter that would work for you? So they design public spaces like bus stop shelters. We have been doing some workshops in the community with the city of San Jose. We did one last month at St. James Park, where we invite the community to come down and make a prototype of what they want to see in their local park. What kind of amenities do they want? Do they want, shady spots to sit? Do they want something to exercise on? And the kids that we have in our workshops, we take them out to our public workshops and they lead our public workshops. So they're taking what they're learning out into their community and sharing it. We do a lot of cultural workshops because it's very meaningful to them if they are learning more about their culture. And then we did one around the Aztec New Year, which happens in March of every year. And we taught them about the symbolism and everything else. And they did a sewing circuitry workshop where they made a light up bracelet. Then we took them out to places like Willow Glen and Japantown, where they shared the culture and they shared the activity. And the people that participated got to take a bracelet home with them. So it's really about learning who they are, what their community is, sharing their vision and voice for that community in a workshop, and then sharing it out in other parts of the community so that they are really sharing what they're learning and showing that making is a part of everything that we do, whether we know it or not.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. So you mentioned the Aztec New Year project. That sounds really amazing. And for folks who might not be as familiar with the place that you live, can you tell us a little bit about the community that you work with and how that project might have been connected to their background?
Well, East San Jose is a predominantly Latino community. Most of it is very low income. Not all the people that live there have college education. There's pockets where there are, nicer neighborhoods. You go up into the East Foothills and it's a little bit different. But in most of the areas, all the schools, like the Alum Rock School District is a prominent district in that area, and all of the schools in that district qualify for universal free lunch. So the income levels of 80% of the participants at a school have to be below the poverty level in order for the school to do that. So it is really a low-income area, a lot of Latinos, various Latino groups. And so tying culture to activities really brings them in and shows them, oh, well, and we can make something within my culture. We do it with the Aztec New Year. We call it Luz de la Comunidad, which is light of the community. And it's a light up bracelet symbolizing the light. We teach them about all the glyphs for the months of the year and counting. So they learn about what the Aztec New Year is, how it's celebrated, how the calendar's done. And then we laser print some of the felt and stuff so they can create a bracelet. We can look up their birthday and they can put their birthday in glyphs or whatever they want to do. Most of the kids just pick all the cool ones and put that on them. And then we take them out into pop-up workshops in the community where they share what they've learned and they share the activity with others. And there's a Aztec New Year celebration at Crush Farm Park in East San Jose every year. And we invite them to come out and participate in that so they can experience another culture. So a lot of what we do stems out of our culture or brings another culture into our culture and then ties something with it.
Awesome. Thanks, Kim. One challenge that I notice maker educators and educators in general struggling with sometimes is making these connections to places in the community or finding places that want to be supportive of the work that you're doing in your space. From your perspective, what are some things you've done to help build those connections and get that kind of buy-in?
Really, it has a lot to do with looking at what you're doing. Everybody is familiar with STEM. Well, we do STEAM where it brings that art component into it. So we actually work a lot with the Office of Cultural Affairs with the City of San Jose and other arts groups to show them that it's a way of bringing art out into the community in a new way. So we do get a lot of support and buy-in from that. We also do the same thing with technology because we infuse technology into everything that we're doing. So we show them, look, these are different ways, maybe not the obvious way you think you could bring technology into it, but this is a way of bringing technology into doing, different things. So we kind of look at the different groups and what their interests are and show them how it fits within what we're doing. And we do a lot of that with the kids because when we work with our kids, they're learning the actual language. For instance, in our summer program last year, one of their activities was they built Mars habitats.
Sure.
And we focus on low income stuff, so we showed them some of the habitats that were out there, but they built theirs with toilet paper rolls and the little fruit cup containers and stuff. And we actually Skyped in with Redworks, which is a company that actually designs Mars habitats for NASA. And they Skyped in with our kids and talked about what goes into it so that there was a conversation going on with our kids. So they're learning the professional vocabulary for whatever they're doing so that when we do take them out to public pop-up workshops where they're sharing it with other communities, they're using that professional language. And that really resonates with a lot of people that come in and I don't even know what the word iterate means. And they're talking about how they love making multiple iterations. So it impresses people, and it's not the reason we do it. We do it because we want them to know what they're doing is a professional thing and stuff. And it really helps bring people in to want to support what we're doing because they love what they're seeing the kids coming up with. And these are kids that have absolutely no background in technology, but they're learning it through the projects and the camps and the workshops that we have. So it's really an amazing way to give them a voice in the community so that people can see, oh, well, wow, you can do that. I want to support that.
That's great. Do you have any advice for an educator who might be struggling to make those connections? It sounds like you've had really, really wonderful luck in terms of talking to other community organizations and just organizations in general.
Really, it's just about sharing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
All of our activities are Common Core based. We're now tying them to the new science standards that are coming out. And so with educators especially, it's all like, well, of course we want kids to enjoy their educations and have fun, but we've got things that they need to learn. So whenever they say that, we say, well, if you look at our lesson plan at the bottom, it lists all the Common Core things that they're reaching. So they are actually learning. You can teach a child a circuit, what positive and negative is and how the battery works. But until they actually put the two things together with their own hands, it's not going to stick and resonate with them. And when it sticks and resonates with them, that's when they really know what they're doing. And you go in and you test them on it, and they're all, finishing up that test quickly because they actually understand the concept because they made it work. That's how we work with the educators and show them that it isn't really complicated, if they pick simple activities and it really resonates with the kids and is helping them to build the knowledge base that they need for the 20th century.
That's super great.
I guess I'm now. Yeah.
So coming from a community that is lower income, and that can certainly present some challenges in terms of how do students have access to these materials, and do they have access to them outside of the space that you provide? What are some ways you've kind of worked around that and helped students bring the making back home with them, or showed them that it's possible?
Well, and that really comes in using low-cost materials in all of our projects.
Hmm.
When you use expensive kits, that, like they have the FOSS kits for science and all different kits that they bring in the classroom, when
Hmm.
that's all you use in the classroom, it's a real disconnect for kids who don't have the resources to have something like that at home. So if you're building, we build little drawbots, and we use foam, and we use straws, the stirrers for coffee makers, and Q-tips, which they dip in the paint. And we use just the vibrating motor from a cell phone and a battery, so that they hook it all up and they make it. So it's something they can make. They can take it home. That's another key component of all of our projects, is everything is make and take. Whatever they make, they get to take it home with them, because then they can take it apart, they can redo it, they can look around the house for stuff that they have and add to it and do it. So it's really about making all of the materials that they're using easily accessible and low cost, so that it isn't just, oh, that's something I can do in class, but that's not something I can do at home. Once they take it home and they realize it is something that they can do at home, it becomes more incorporated into their lives. In my life, I can be a maker wherever I am, because I can make something with whatever I have in front of me.
Do you have any examples or stories you could share of that kind of follow through from your out of school programs back to home, or maybe back to school?
Actually, we have a lot of our kids with our summer programs. We always do parent feedback as well as student feedback. And one of the questions we ask the parent is, how have they changed when they're at home? Are they doing anything with what they're taking home with them? And most of our parents have stated that, all of a sudden, they have these toys that have been sitting in the corner that they stopped using, and now they're pulling them out. Not to use them for what they made for, but because, hey, I can add this to the robot that I made, and I can give them an antenna or whatever. So they take their stuff home, they reuse it. We actually, earlier this year, we won the Microsoft KCI Innovation Award for innovative programs for our summer camp. And I had contacted a few of the students to come with us for the presentation at Microsoft so they could share what they were doing. And I said, can you bring some samples of what you made at camp?
Hmm.
And they were all like, well, I don't have that anymore because I took it apart because I made something else with it.
That's
And so they are going home. They're looking at what they're doing. They're either taking it apart and making something else, or they're using it as a model to make something else. And a lot of our kids, we work closely with the school districts so that we can find out, is it making a difference in the classroom? And so we have our principals at the sites. They go through and they compare the kids that have been through our program with similar students that have not been through our program, to look at the growth, because we've had kids that have been with us for like 4 summers now. So we're really able to follow them through the school. And the ones that are coming through our program, they're doing more, they're moving along faster, they're learning quicker. So it's really having a positive impact on their education, because they are beginning to tie what they're doing and what they're learning with the importance of what education is. So they go back more serious, because, they start with Tinkercad, which is a really easy 3D design program, and they want to do the harder stuff. So they work harder so that they learn their XYZ axis and math and everything else. So when they come back next year, they're ready to move into SketchUp,
hmm
because, hey, I know what I'm doing now. I know what I'm doing. So, I can get better. I can get better. And that's really what they're looking forward to.
That's really great. That's really wonderful to hear those stories of improvement, and that they're excited about improving. It's not just that they're building skills, but they're excited to build those skills, it sounds like.
Yes, they are. And that's part of taking the student leaders, of kids that are doing really well. Once they learn it, they can help teach it. So we take
Yeah.
them out to the pop-up workshops where they do some of the projects that they've already done in the classroom.
Hmm.
And they go out and they show others how to do it. And it gives them a voice, and they become leaders. They become teachers versus just learners. And it really empowers them to build confidence, and like, I can do this. And it's really amazing when you have a student leader and an adult comes up to your booth and says what you're doing. And instead of the adult responding, the student says, oh, well, we're doing whatever the project is. Would you like to make one? And we get adults that say, oh, isn't it for kids? And we tell them we don't discriminate. We allow adults to make as well at our workshop.
Of course.
So,
Do you have any?
It's really empowering for the kids and exciting.
Yeah. I'm gonna prompt you for a story. I know you have, because you've told me this story before. Can you share about when I think it was a city councilman or mayor or someone like that who came to visit one of your booths?
Joe Simidian. Oh no, the mayor came to the city of San Jose. The mayor, and actually we did a pop up in Fountain Alley this last weekend, and he came to that one. He goes, "Oh, you're here again." I'm like, "Well, we're everywhere, Mr. Mayor." So we were doing at St. James Park. We were doing park prototyping workshop where people can come up to our workshop booth and they can talk. We talk to them about what do you want to see in this park? What kind of things you want to do? And then when they talk about it, we say, okay, make a model of it. And so we had this little girl. She had this idea for a play area, and she wanted you to be able to sit on flowers and the lights would light up. And so we showed her how to do the circuitry, and she made this real cute little model of it. And in walks the mayor. And the mayor just walked in and he goes, "Oh, what's that?" And she goes, "Oh, this." And she had no clue who he was. She just started sharing what she was making with him. And this was a little 6-year-old girl. And I don't know if you've ever met the mayor of San Jose, but he's like 6'4". And he bent right over and he's talking to her and showing, and she's sharing with him exactly. She goes, "So you need to make sure you build this in my park."
I love that.
So it was
really wonderful.
Really great because we get a lot of, we've kind of promoted, and we always let whatever council district we're in, we let that council member know what we're doing so that they can come by and they can really hear from their community. It's about not just giving our kids a voice, but when we do community pop-ups, giving the community a voice through a making activity. And it's really fascinating because at that same activity, you never know who's going to walk by in a park. And there was a little boy who was working on something, and a homeless man just sort of walked through. And he just, kind of muttered to himself, "What's going on here?" And he was just slouching his way through. And the little kid looked right at him and said, "Oh, I'm making something that I want to see in the park." And he just kind of stopped. And he looked at him and he goes, "Are you talking to me?" And he goes, "Well, you wanted to know what I was doing." And so he stepped over to the table. And the little kid started explaining to him everything that he was doing. And his father was standing there. And at first he was a little leery, but you could see the father's posture changing as he became really proud that his son was just sharing what he was doing with this homeless person. And then the homeless person was, he stood up straight and started asking questions. And he was like, wow, he cared what I thought. And so he walked away very happy. And the little boy turned to his dad and said, "Dad, was he homeless?" And his dad said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh." He goes, "Well, he should make something that he wants too." So, I mean, it brings diverse cultures together when you're out in the community doing workshops, because anybody can make something and anybody can be interested in what you're making. And most of the time, those that don't want to make anything and watch will eventually step right in and start making right alongside of you because they can't take it anymore. I have to do something too.
Absolutely. Those are both really, really amazing examples of the way that making can really build these unique, incredible connections across learners and community members and council members. That's really great to hear. Mm-hmm. To wrap up, we have time for one more question. We have time for one more. Can you go ahead and share if you have a piece of advice? So, you're a little further along as a community educator and after school, out of school program coordinator. What might be a piece of advice you have for an educator who's just getting started in that world and really wants to build out their amazing connections to their local community or to their council members? What do you think would be one great takeaway from that?
Really, I think make something. If you're a teacher in a classroom, make something with your kids. And when you're ready to make something, invite the principal, the superintendent of the school district, the local council member, invite them to come see what your kids are doing in the classroom. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't have to be, a sophisticated, Lego robotics, come see our end of term Lego robotics. It doesn't have to be that. It can be as simple as coming and see, we're making light up masks because kids are learning the difference between positive and negative with circuitry. And they can come in, they could watch the light bulbs go off literally over the kids when they put their masks on and they turn on. And it really just shows the curiosity of the kids, the desire to really, really learn, and how learning is so inspirational for somebody else to see when they're making something. Reading, writing, arithmetic, it's all very important, but until you can apply it to something that you're doing, it's meaningless for kids. And when they can make something and share what they made, it has a really amazing impact on everybody else that's observing it.
Great. Wonderful advice. And to close us out, Kim, can you go ahead and share a couple, 3 maybe resources that you think are really amazing resources that everyone in the community should know about?
Well, I really, really like that there's a Google group called K-12 Fab Learn Makerspaces, and it's people from all over the Bay Area. They come in, they always promote what they're doing, any kind of pop-up activities that are coming on there. And if you see something and you like it and you have a question, you can just pop right in, and there's always at least 10 or 15 people to respond to you. I've only done it a few times, and I'm just amazed by the amount of feedback that I get whenever I ask a simple question. Hey, I'm trying to find this. Does anybody know where I can get it? And all of a sudden I have a bunch of resources. And I really, really would recommend, joining that Google group or some of the other Google groups that are out there, because it's a way of building community. We've also, I'm working with some groups. We do EdCamp Silicon Valley Make. That's a unique thing. It's like a conference, but it's an anti-conference in that we don't have a bunch of workshops set up. Basically, we have instructors come in that want to learn about how do I do making in the classroom because they don't know. And they write on Post-it notes topics. We have a little activity for them that they do at the beginning so they can see what a little simple making activity is. And then we group the conversations. We do it over the course of a morning and afternoon. So we have 3 sessions. And basically, if you want to know more about, where do I get make materials for not expensive, then you sit in that group and everybody shares their resources. And we have people in our group that have expertise in the different areas that go in and participate and share that with them. So it's a way of helping educators that don't know how to get making in the classroom learn what making is and find the resources and make friends that this is a group. We have a website and everything that you can always go back to as we add resources to it. So I think that's a really good way. It's just kind of starting up. There are some make ed camps and other areas, but that's the one that we have going and locally in Silicon Valley. I know there's a Bay Area one that does it around the Bay Area as well. But really, networking is the best thing you can do, because if you don't know it, there is somebody that does, and networking will always get your answer.
Great. So we'll make sure to post links to both of those. The K-12 Fab Lab group is really a great resource. I very much agree. And EdCamp, I haven't been to that particular EdCamp, but in general, EdCamps are very cool. And that sounds like a particularly exciting one. Thank you so much, Kim, for being here today. It was really great to have you. I hope that everyone out there enjoyed watching another week of Ask a Maker Educator. We'll be back next week at 4 o'clock Pacific time on Wednesday. And we will be speaking with Ryan Jenkins from the Exploratorium to talk a little bit about his work in tinkering and a lot of other exciting stuff. So we hope to have you there. Thank you again to Kim, and have a great night.
Thank you.